Thanks for stopping in to We Called It. We have a fantastic show for you today. Lots of free agent news going on. Can't wait to dive into it all. As always, I'm Philip Call, contributor at the Action Network, joined with Dr. Kenneth Call. How you doing, Ken?
Hey guys, finally enjoying some nice weather outside. It was snowing a week ago. Now it's 70 out here. So glad to be inside doing this podcast. Happy St. Patty's Day, guys.
And also joined with my cousin, guest star Anthony Sardelli. So Connor's out playing softball right now. We got Anthony in. He's going to be our audio editor going forward, so we thought we'd give him a chance to show what he's got on camera.
Emphasis on star, guest star.
Hell yeah. I got some good points. No, you said not to swear, but I'm going to start off with the swear word.
It's all right, slow start. One. That's you get 3 strikes and then you're out, just like the old baseball. So
then I'll go back to editing.
All right. So please like, subscribe, follow, shout us out, reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you can. Leave YouTube comments. Love to respond to them all and then work them into the show if you have questions that we can all discuss.
Or if we have comments, yes.
We do have a big one from Nate Schmidt. We'll talk about that later. There's been so much news that has come out recently, so we're going to start off with the big Deshaun Watson news. So 4 teams were in the running for him, but now it's down to just the NFC South teams. The Browns were eliminated earlier today, I think. So, Ken, we'll start with you. Where do you think Deshaun Watson goes?
Where do I think? I'll tell you what. We'll get to it, but I'm hopeful for the Atlanta Falcons, man. I'm really hoping he goes there, being a Browns fan. But I really think you got to start with the Saints. I mean, they were in QB trouble all year last year from when Jameis got hurt. Taysom Hill was never really himself. And they even started Ian Book. If you guys watch that game, it was brutal.
Whoa. That's a COVID game. Doesn't count.
well, but it was against the Dolphins. So, you expected a little something from them. But they were horrible all year. They couldn't get anything going. Definitely missed Michael Thomas. But they were only 1 win away from actually making the playoffs. In Week 17, they were winning in. And, with that, I mean, they do have some talent. They have great defense. I know Kamara's in a little bit of trouble, and Michael Thomas is, coming off the injury. But those two are, when you talk about elite talent, I'll tell you what, Alvin Kamara is elite. Michael Thomas, last time we saw him, I know it was a while ago, but the last year he played, he was the consensus #1 wide receiver in the league for fantasy with Drew Brees. But no, tons of talent on that team. They have a good defense. I think they definitely lead the way. I don't blame Deshaun Watson for not coming to the AFC. By the way, being a Browns frontrunner, that's what I'm blaming it on. I'm blaming it on us being in the AFC in a tough division. But no, definitely would have liked to see Deshaun in the Browns uniform.
All right, so Anthony, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think that Deshaun Watson's going to go to the Falcons because that's where his home is, and they don't have a lot there. It is if they get rid of Kyle Pitts for Watson, they're pretty much screwed.
They're not doing that. Kyle Pitts is staying there. He's glued to Atlanta.
But I mean, I don't know. You got Kyle Pitts. You can make some picks, get some more things around Watson. I just think that's the childhood dream. When you're a quarterback growing up, playing for your high school team, you want to be home. You want to play for your home team, potentially win a Super Bowl there. So I think that's the move, but that's all speculation. He might go to the Saints. I don't know. We really don't know with him.
All right. So, Ken, right now, today, I think the Saints are a better football team than the Falcons. But they are in one of the worst cap positions for the next 2 years because of how they structured their cap to go all in with Drew Brees and win a Super Bowl. They are also old and getting older. Obviously, you don't get younger, but their defense is they're losing pieces. Marcus Williams just went over to the Ravens. They are aging up front, so they're going to have a worse pass rush, and their offensive line is aging. outside of what is Michael Thomas right now, I don't see much of a future. And even Michael Thomas, like, he doesn't seem like he wants to play for the Saints. They also just lost Sean Payton, who I think is a big reason for their success last year. Connor and I always brought it up every time they were in a competitive game against someone like the Buccaneers and said, Sean Payton can outcoach and get the Saints any win. However, he just couldn't do that against poor teams for some reason. But that's why I'm with Anthony on this one. Atlanta seems like the logical place to go. It's home, and if they get rid of Matt Ryan, I'm sure that they can do some kind of cap finagling and bring in some more weapons, draft some young receivers. I know that the Falcons somehow were 7-10 last year, 8-9 in that ballpark, even with what I think it was a terrible team and Matt Ryan just looking old and nowhere near capable of being able to get out from behind that line and make plays the way they needed him to. So I think Deshaun Watson going home, like Anthony said, absolute perfect fit is where he should go.
Well, let me tell you something just real quick about that. The whole Michael Thomas issue, he did not get along with Sean Payton. A lot of the issues there were with that, and he actually just signed an extension this offseason. He does. I mean,
this
offseason,
or was it last offseason?
This offseason, he signed a 3-year extension. And let me just read you this tweet from Field Yates. So this was 9 o'clock this morning. The Saints have restructured the contracts of QB Taysom Hill, cornerback Bradley Roby, linebacker Demario Davis, safety Malcolm Jenkins to clear up major cap space. The Saints are now officially at $29.9 million in cap space, not over, under. Yes, they talk about budgeting. I'll tell you what. Marcus May's Saints contract, it's 3 years, $22.5 million. But with $14.5 million in fully guaranteed, 2 voided years for cap, and 2 years, $15 million practical. No idea what that means. His cap hits over the next 4 years are 2.6, 8.6, 8.7, and then 2.4. Only $2.4 million in dead cap space. One of the biggest illusions in football is that you can be stuck with cap. I am sorry. The Rams were supposedly stuck with cap. They went all in. They just won a Super Bowl. New Orleans supposedly stuck. All of a sudden has $30 million to play with this year. Guess what? They have enough space to go all in on Deshaun Watson.
Yes, they can get Deshaun Watson, but they can't give him anything else. They're old. I said they're old and getting older. They're people locked into contracts. I am standing by. I know you can finagle the cap every year, but
exactly, that's the point. Guess what?
Whenever Taysom
Hill
leaves, which will probably be, they won't be able to use his contract as an illusion because right now it's like 5 years, $150 million, but they don't pay him anything. It's just the funniest contract I've ever seen.
Got a good front office, man. It's not about not paying people. It's making the cap look like you're not paying someone. And that's what they're doing.
All right, let's go on. It's enough Deshaun Watson. You got our takes. Clearly, he's ending up in Atlanta. It's voted 2-1. All right, but Baker Mayfield, obviously.
Thank you for doing homework, guys. I appreciate it.
Baker Mayfield, big question. The Browns were in the running for Deshaun Watson. A lot of news came out. A lot of he said, she said. Ken and I got into it a little bit. Unfortunately, we won't go down that path. We're only going to speculate on what's going to happen going forward.
Ken was right. We're not going to go down that path. We'll see. Bring us down that path.
I don't know. I saw this argument unfold. I don't think Ken was right. I'm actually going to side with Bill again, 2-1.
All right.
I'm going to explain it to you guys so you guys understand.
Just want to say this is why I brought in Anthony. I knew this was going to happen. But anyways, Baker Mayfield and Browns is now an untenable situation. The question is, Baker wants out. The Browns literally told him no to a trade demand, which is hilarious.
I love that.
Where do the Browns go? I guess anything's like an open take. They could stick with him. They could trade him. They could cut him. They could whatever. So, Ken, you first.
Let's go on to where you guys are wrong. So, with Baker. Now, first off, if you're an organization, you shouldn't have leaks. When Tom Brady was leaving the Patriots, you know when we figured it out? When they didn't sign him in the offseason. You know, nothing came out beforehand. That's the way it should be. So,
1 second, someone has sound going off right now? Or maybe it's me?
Yeah, I think it's you.
Oh, that's me, I'm sorry. It's gone. I had Spot Track open up and an ad started playing.
So, going back to it, we had two reports. One, that it's like we wanted someone more adult than Baker. First off, yes, that would upset anybody. Second, when you have reports that, even if we don't get Deshaun, Baker might not be our guy. There's no reason for those to come out. Those would upset anybody. But especially when you have Baker Mayfield, that was gonna go too far.
Yeah.
The truth is, if you thought that like right now, if we're gonna say no to demanding a trade, none of those reports should have ever came out. The fact, those are always conversations behind closed doors. When those start coming out, bad things happen. Now, Baker, he's under contract for a year. He had a horrible year last year. Now he's going to not play. Now I'm throwing stuff out. But if he doesn't play this year, hypothetically, he's still on our team. If he doesn't play, then what team is going to want a guy who had a very poor, 2021, doesn't play in 2022? What is in an open market? How much is Baker worth? I'm sorry, Baker's between a rock and a hard place here.
So, I actually saw someone post on Twitter that it wouldn't be unreasonable for the Browns to demand a first-round pick in return for Baker, or the equivalent of. And I'm over here like, the Colts are the only team. The Colts are the only team in the league I can see wanting to pursue Baker, given their roster construction. Maybe the Seahawks, given that they gave away Russell Wilson now. But I don't know, like, those teams shouldn't want to give away first-round picks. The Seahawks just got theirs back after they traded them all away.
Okay, I know you guys hate this one. I know you guys don't feel the same way I feel about Jimmy G. But the going price on him is like a second or a third rounder. Carson Wentz was 2 third rounders. Like, are you going to tell me that Baker Mayfield's worth a first when those prices are coming out? No way.
I don't think he was worth that even if he would have played this year. Like, I just don't think he was worth a first-round pick at all. Ever. Like, unless he would have played.
When he was the first overall pick, that was garbage.
I just don't get the argument of, we diminished his value with all of this. Now, we're treating him poorly. What do you want the Browns to do? They're going out and trying to upgrade the team at a position where they think they're lacking. All right, maybe the report of, hey, Baker is not an adult. We want someone who's an adult. I don't know how that report came out, who leaked that, if the Browns even leaked that, but that was bad. But the whole, we're going to go to Houston, we're going to visit with Watson, just because we're trying to get a better player and you're getting upset about it, that's on Baker.
All right, so real quick, we're going to talk about timeline on these things. First of all, we meet with Deshaun Watson, right? Mm-hmm. Then the report that we might trade Baker, or we might look at other options even if we don't get Watson comes out.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I sent to Ken, and in the article, the headline was Browns might trade Baker, and it's like that was like an option that the person had listed. It's like they could trade him, they could get someone else, they could stick with him.
But there were several other tweets, there were several other Instagram, but there was a lot that said that exact, like, the bad part.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Come out.
And now here's the problem. At midnight, at 10 o'clock or midnight, whatever, Baker posts the long, I'm not saying goodbye, but I am breaking up with you song.
But I am saying goodbye. Yeah, it's like...
That's like saying, hey, telling your girlfriend, hey, I cheated on you. And then when she goes, we can make it through this, be like, I'm cheating on you right now. Does that make it worse? Like, you're trying to get out.
Yeah. I'm cheating on you because you're ugly.
and then there's also the reports coming out that players that have played with Baker are saying that, they're kind of losing faith in him, and the way he he's kind of lost the locker room, like half the locker room over the last season.
And that was my point. That all came out the morning after Baker came out and put out his pouty message.
You've got Odell leaving because of Baker. You've got Jarvis pretty much, he's gone. Obviously the Browns don't want to pay him anymore, but I think a lot of that has to do with him having a poor relationship with Baker and then it just turning into a poor relationship with the Browns too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I put a lot of it on Baker being kind of soft because if you put Jimmy G in this position that Baker was in, he would have not, he's in the same situation now. He would have not said anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other quarterbacks that wouldn't have said anything. And for all the people that are like, oh, this is a bad look for the organization, they're trying to upgrade at the position. They want to win now. It's a poor look for Baker. I mean, yeah, it looks bad on the Browns too, but in the ultimate long run, Baker was not their first choice. Dorsey was the one that drafted him, and this organization is not Dorsey's organization. They didn't want Baker in the first place. They want a better player. They tried to use Baker. It didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. And I 100% agree with that. The no player in the league should be mad if your team's trying to find someone better at your position. Get Aaron Rodgers. If he was available, every single contender out there who doesn't have the Pat Mahomes, the franchise quarterback, should have been going out, and no one can be mad. I completely agree with that. Trust me, Baker is extremely guilty in all of this. My only opinion is it's extremely Bush League to have, number one, your plans come out beforehand. Two, have reports of you saying, oh, you need more of an adult. All of that is childish. With that being said, I love the fact that the Browns went out and tried to get Deshaun Watson all on field, off field, everything.
Off field. Yeah, no.
We talk between the goal lines here. All right, that's
it. Yeah.
But no.
You're not recording out of massage parlors here.
Yeah, I love that. I hate everything that Baker's done. But the whole thing is, obviously, it wasn't true that Baker's not in the plans if we don't get Deshaun, because we already said no to demanding a trade, and if we don't find anything better than Baker, because let's face it, there's a chance we don't find anything better than Baker, he's on our team next year. That's it.
I'll say this. The reason we're going to get a quarterback is because Watson's going to the Falcons. The Falcons are going to have to get rid of Matt Ryan. Ryan is coming to Cleveland.
So that's exactly where I was going to take us next. What should the Browns do? Yeah.
All right, Phil.
I'm going.
Go back to the original question.
I was going to say back to where this all started before Ken decided to rehash the argument I said we weren't going to talk about.
I know, but you guys don't even understand that you're wrong.
Anyways, so Browns options currently available in my mind. One, Matt Ryan, because like I said, we have Deshaun Watson going to the Falcons. Even if he doesn't, Deshaun Watson's going to the Saints most likely, and that opens up Jameis Winston. So Jameis, Deshaun Watson. Jimmy G is a viable trade option currently. I'd say Gardner Minshew. Who do you guys want? And do you have a lot of preference? Or is it like, all right, if we don't get Matt Ryan, stick with Baker?
Anthony, I'll let you go first.
Mine's kind of silly, but I want Jameis because really, Matt Ryan, you're going to have for what? 3 years, and then he's going to be done. I think he's probably the next best option, and probably the most realistic option, because he hasn't played with a great offensive line since that Super Bowl run. Their line's gotten bad. The defense has been atrocious in Atlanta. And then he's going to have Amari Cooper and other weapons here. So I think Matt Ryan's probably the most realistic choice. He's probably the smart choice. I think he gives you the best right now. But Jameis, he's exciting, man. He got that LASIK. I want to see. I would go to pay good money just to see Jameis, Nick Chubb, and Amari Cooper, and then Njoku for some reason. He's our star tight end now. So I would love to see that. He's got a good line here, and then the defense. You could win games with Jameis. I thought he actually played really well last season before he got hurt with the Saints. I had the Saints as a playoff team, and then once he got hurt, their season got derailed. you saw what he could do with weapons. So, I mean, those are two viable options. If you get Gardner Minshew, in my eyes, that's just a Baker, but in a different disguise.
The Baker and a Speedo.
So
it's what everyone wants.
I'll say Gardner is a little bit better than Baker, but I'm also really hard on Baker. I just don't see like Baker going anywhere else and being a good quarterback. I don't know, but those are my two guys, Matt Ryan and Jameis.
I mean, I do gotta say, I hate to keep going back to Baker, but I mean, his ceiling has to be what he did with us 2 years ago. I mean, he can win with the good team. Clearly, he needs a lot to go right with that. But anyways, no, I mean, looking back, Jameis last year, and I know, I'm going to bring up stats. Phil hates stats so much. But 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year, especially coming from the last time he played was, a 30-30 year, which is just ridiculous.
I know. No one else has done it. It's the best.
No, maybe being with Sean Payton, being in a better system helped him, and LASIK, of course, helped him mature a little bit as a quarterback. But the truth is, he can make good throws. He can make all the throws. He can make the good ones. He can make the bad ones. But I really like Matt Ryan. I just think that being a Browns fan, I'll just say it, man. We sometimes bring out the worst in people, and like we might bring out like a 20-30 year out of Jameis. Matt Ryan, he's proven before that with weapons, but like with Falcons, now don't get me wrong, nobody's Julio Jones. We don't have a Julio Jones on, unless of course we sign Julio Jones. But he can win with weapons. Matt Ryan has never had a defense in his entire career. I want you to look through these Atlanta Falcons. Fantasy-wise, I have targeted the Atlanta Falcons for whatever offense they're playing. They're going to put up 20 points minimum. They start at 20, really. But, no, I just like Matty Ice. I think going back to what I've said on here time and time again, it's all about winning now. I want to know what we can do in the next few years. Guess what? Matt Ryan only has a few years left in him. I think you have a better chance to win with him than with Jameis, period. By the way, also love Gardner Minshew, man. If he was coming here, I just think he was he was more of a winner than Baker. He won in Jacksonville. Minshew won games in Jacksonville, and that's something that they don't do very often.
I can't wait to talk more about Jacksonville in a little bit. My only problem with Matt Ryan is he has a noodle for an arm. It's getting older. And we play outdoors in the coldest division in the NFL. And he takes there because the Colts, on the other hand, they need a quarterback. They have draft picks, and they might outbid us for Matt Ryan. That's my biggest fear right now.
Yeah, I mean, that could happen. I could see them doing that because they're a win now team too. They have a great defense like we do, and a really good running game. Jonathan Taylor's a beast. And their receivers are really good. Who do they have? They have Pascal, and then
they have Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman, and T.Y. Hilton is currently a free agent. I think he will end up resigning there.
Yeah, I mean, I really like their team.
Did they pick up a tight end? I think they might have.
No, they re-signed Mo Alley Cox.
Oh, okay. Because Jack Doyle sucks.
Yes.
Watching him play is brutal, guys. I'm sorry, but if you are looking to win now, why on earth would you come to Cleveland when Indianapolis is an option?
Well, because he doesn't have a no-trade clause.
Yes. By the way, that's also a thing. Baker putting out there, hey guys, I'd like to go to Indy. I'm like, you will go to Houston. You'll go to Washington to back up
like a good team.
You'll go where we tell you.
What about the Ottawa Canucks?
Washington. He will play over Wentz. That we don't want to see that.
My point is, you're not Deshaun Watson. You don't have a no trade clause. You don't get to say where you go. I'm sorry.
And he has no leverage. Like,
exactly.
He's just not good enough.
Yep.
No, but he's famous enough. That's the only thing Baker has working with him is that when he does something, everyone sees it because of his commercials. But
was that
So hypothetically, guys, what do you think his value is if he were to had this 2021, 2022? If he's still, I don't think he'll be on our team, but if he is and he sits out, what's really his value now? I mean, instead of a year ago he was like, we're like, should we pay him 35 million? And then after this, it's like, should we pay him 18? Now, what would his value be?
2 year or something around the ballpark of 3 years, 60 million. Last year's not guaranteed at all. So
I agree with that.
The basis for that contract is Mike Glennon got something like 3 years, 45 from the Bears. Who else? Nick Foles got 4 years, 72 million from the Bears. He's going to be a Bears quarterback. There's one more I had on the tip of my tongue.
Getting 60 million or something.
Oh, Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, 2 years, 32 million when he played for the Colts. So I think 3 years for a guy who's coming off his rookie deal to see what he has. You'd probably do fully guaranteed first year, half guaranteed, no guaranteed. So if that worked out, that would I think where Baker would go. Before we move on, though, I just want to give my take on the Browns. 1, we need to get Matt Ryan if we don't want Amari Cooper to sit out. No other quarterback currently available is good enough that Amari Cooper will say, you are better than Dak Prescott. I'm happy to be here. 2, I want Jameis because he's better than Matt Ryan currently. Ken, you brought up his 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. I think it is overlooked how aggressive the Buccaneers offense was under Jameis. They would get into 3rd and 10 situations, and then they would chuck it 20, 30 yards downfield. Jameis obviously wasn't great at that, got more interceptions.
Record-setting pick sixes. The things that lose you a game. I think he threw like 6.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, just remember, he threw 36 touchdowns that year.
Ken, there's a reason they call it a 50-50 ball. It's either a touchdown or a pick.
Or a touchdown.
Pick six.
Yeah. So, but my last take, I know Ken's hard against me on this one. If our choices are play Baker or play Jimmy G, that's right. If Baker will be on the field, you play Baker over Jimmy G. Yeah, Ken hates that, and here is why. Why switch things up? There's no point. You're going to have to give away Baker. You're going to have to give away draft picks to bring in Jimmy G. You won't get fair compensation back for Baker. It's just going to be a mess. Keep your draft capital. Work through the year with Baker. Oh, and lastly, if we get Matt Ryan, trade up for Malik Willis. I want him. Everyone else might not. I think he'll be in that 10 to 15 pick range available. You should be able to go up and get him. I think he will be a solid player. I think he has the athleticism to be as good as the 6th best QB in the AFC. And given the current state, that's a compliment. So
the only thing
Anthony,
I could say
first there.
The only thing I could say is I actually don't mind if we get Jimmy G. It sucks that we lose draft picks. That hurt. But in like a short term period, I think he's a really good fit for the Browns offense, that rollout style offense. He played great for the Niners, rolling out, throwing it downfield to Debo or Kittle. And we have Njoku. Now we have Amari Cooper. I don't know what we're going to do with the rest of the receiving core, but then you have Kareem Hunt and Chubb. So, I mean, I think he fits the offense. That would be the only reason I really want him. But yeah, paying him a lot of money, that would suck.
So I got to say, the more I've been thinking about this, Phil, I'm sorry. But I got to Jimmy G. This was probably more of a hot take, but the 49ers might have the best receiving core in the NFL. I think Ayuk is very underrated. I think he's fantastic. Debo is amazing. And George Kittle, I think is, in terms of what he can do, is the best tight end in the league. I think he's better than Mark Andrews. I think he's better than Kelsey. He's a legitimate playmaker. But between those three, I think they have the best trio, if not top. He's a top 5 trio there. It's hard to replace that.
I thought we were going to have to talk about T. Higgins while Connor wasn't here. I made a promise that we wouldn't do that. So we're good. We're good. We dodged a bullet. You said top 5.
The Bengals have a really nice trio.
One would have been ambitious. But hard to replace that. But with that being said, Jimmy G is honestly, I think what Stefanski wants in terms of a this is a quarterback that's not going to mess up what I got going on.
Yeah.
Good defense, I got a good run game. I know what you're going to say about interceptions, but I think Jimmy G has more of the I'm going to win you the game mentality than Baker. I'm sorry. Baker was pitiful in the fourth quarter. It was horrible to watch. I mean, he probably, I don't want to start throwing stuff out that's incorrect, but I mean, anytime we needed a fourth quarter drive, we were 3 and out. We were maybe 1 first down and out. Like, I'm sorry. It was pitiful last year.
It's hard to watch.
I think I brought it up in our group chat. In games where there was a 50% chance of, like, a 50% win probability, according to ESPN, for the Browns this year, in the fourth quarter, they were 0-4. So literally, any time the game got to a point where it was like dead even, you should go 2-2 in those games. Theoretically, they were 0-4. I hear Milo; he's adorable.
And we went for a walk in the park for an hour and a half. Like, he is, I can't believe he's still up. Anyways, I'd love Jimmy G, but I hate to say this, Bill, but you're right. Like, is he the long-term answer? Nah. And we're right there with Baker. The same exact thing. For the cost and what we would have to commit to him, it's not worth it.
Just remember, Baker Mayfield could have made $100 million this last offseason. Easily. Maybe 140.
Yeah. I think you're better off letting it ride with Keenum than getting Jimmy G or Nick Mullins, one of the two, but yeah, I don't really want Jimmy G per se. I would rather have Matt Ryan. But yeah, I would rather just ride it out with Keenum.
I'm going to end this Browns conversation on something that is very overlooked. The Browns had one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last year. 9 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, something like that. And we were 8-9. All we need is a quarterback who doesn't shoot ourselves in the foot, and we're a borderline playoff team. We have enough talent. So just a healthy anything, I think, will be better than what we had last year. I believe Baker obviously is better than what he had last year, but it's hard not to overstate how truly bad that situation was. All right, let's move on, though. We've spent way too much time on that. Anyways, Davante Adams traded 3 minutes before this podcast started recording.
Dude,
going to the Raiders for 2 picks. One is a first. Raiders going all in this year. They just signed Chandler Jones to pair with Max Crosby, an elite duo on the outside. Very excited for this NFC West. Ken, you're all pumped about it. I think you should take it off.
So let's focus on the Raiders for just a minute here. We'll get to the Packers, but I gotta say, I am so pumped to watch every single AFC West game. You guys should too, because it's gonna be the 8:30 game every single time they can do it. They are prime time for everything. But everybody in that division, they're following the recipe that the Rams and kind of the Buccaneers put on. But guys, veteran quarterbacks, how many what's the average age? And I know Tom Brady's really throwing this off, but the average age of the Super Bowl winning quarterback in the last decade, man, they're all old. Phil, you can do this math in your head. Go for it.
It turns out they're all a bajillion years old. I'm actually looking it up right
now.
They're
dinosaurs.
But anyways, they're following the same recipe. We're going to get a veteran sound quarterback play. We're going to give them the receivers that they need. We're going to get pass rusher. We're going to pay for pass rushers. We're going to make sure that we have elite cornerbacks. And, everything else is whatever. And I got to tell you, the entire division is doing that, from the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. And I'll tell you what, you got Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, you got Davante Adams now. You're giving Derek Carr everything that he needs. I'll tell you what, I just think it's going to be exciting to watch. At the very least, they are going to put up points on each other, and it's going to be fun football. With that being said, honest opinion, guys, do you guys think that this changes the Raiders from being the worst team in the division?
Anthony, you can take that first.
All right. Yeah, I think it definitely does. And to me now, the Chiefs are down here. It's like you got the Chargers pretty much here with the Chiefs. Then you got the Raiders. And then the Broncos. but they're all like right here. It's a very close margin. But yeah, I think this makes the Raiders 100 times better. You have Waller, Adams, Jacobs.
Hunter Renfrow, can't
Yeah,
understate.
Hunter Renfrow is one of the best route runners in the NFL. He's super
Maybe
underrated.
Cooper Kupp.
He's no Cooper Kupp.
It's a Cooper Kupp now.
Yes, but I mean, now it's just got to be this. This is a prove it season for Derek Carr. If he sucks, then the Vegas Raiders are going to be like, "What the heck did we do with this guy? Why are we re-signing him?" But that division, I have no clue what's going to happen there. I really don't. The Broncos, I keep forgetting about the Broncos getting Russell Wilson, adding everybody in the offseason, and just becoming
a defense,
so much better. That I don't know if the Browns play the AFC West this season, but I sure hope they don't, because that is 4 losses.
It is 4 losses for the Browns. Yes,
that is something I look at if I'm going to get a quarterback this year. Like, you know what? Let's not get a quarterback this year. We're already going to be out of the playoffs. We're playing the AFC West. I mean, that's a scary division. It's going to be fun to watch.
Good news. We played the West last year. We don't play them this year. All right.
Thank the Lord.
So, my only problem with Vegas right now is Derek Carr is a quarterback I would take over everyone we just talked about for the Browns.
I agree.
Is nowhere near those top 3 in terms of pure talent.
No.
Like, it is completely absurd that they have A-plus quarterback Patrick Mahomes, A-plus, but I guess like it's 1B quarterback to Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and then 1C in Russell Wilson.
1A, you just compared everybody to a generational talent. Stop doing this.
Just wait. I think Justin Herbert has the raw talent of Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid plus the fastest receiver in the NFL plus the second, maybe third best tight end in NFL history. He was given the best situation you could ever ask for. And it's shown with his a little bit of regression since that year 2 phenomenal breakout year when like everyone was fantastic. They had Sammy Watkins as a decoy. Now, Justin Herbert has much less, and he has looked absolutely phenomenal.
Real quick, Sammy Watkins has never been anything more than a decoy.
Yeah, but when you're a decoy next to Tyreek Hill and you're super fast, it's great. He had 3 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah.
Anyways, like Patrick Mahomes, all those 3. Russell Wilson, I think, is like actually the 3rd in terms of talent, but I'd still take him over Herbert this year. That's a different conversation. But Derek Carr is so far behind those guys that I just can't buy the Raiders to be a division winner or even the second best team in this division. I could see them being a 9-7, sneak into the playoffs once again like they did this year. But I absolutely love their moves. I love that they went all in and said, we're just putting all our chips on the table, and we're going to know the results in the next 2 years, 3 years, if we have to blow it up or not. Their problem is that they're in the AFC. If this was an NFC team, I would say that they are a top 4 or 5 seed. They're not as good as the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Packers, but I could see them right in that Dallas cusp competing in that kind of group. Unfortunately, they're not. I love it because, like Ken said, there's going to be so many good games, and the Raiders were already a team that got up to play the teams in their division every year. Don't forget the Raiders' victory lap around Kansas City Chiefs Stadium because they were bragging because they thought they beat the Super Bowl champs. Well, they beat the Super Bowl champs. And I think gave them their first loss deep in.
Didn't they lose by 40 twice last year or something like that?
I have no idea. 1 second.
The Chiefs, yeah, because they did. They got wrecked by the Chiefs twice.
Oh yeah, sorry, they got wrecked by the Chiefs.
Right.
I thought you said did they win by 40? I'm like, I don't know if they won a game by 40. But yeah, the Chiefs destroyed them. Connor had those picks, by the way. Anyways, I love the Raiders. Super excited for them. Unfortunately, they are just like, there is nothing you can do besides all of a sudden getting Josh Allen in your lap to compete with these kinds of teams.
I'll argue with that 1A, 1B, 1C ridiculous comment. But yes, I completely agree with everything else you said. 100%. Like, amazing in the NFC, worst team in the AFC West by far.
Anyways, big note, Devontae Adams went to Fresno State with Derek Carr. So, actually, a really good relationship there. You can see why they made a big push to get him. Now, finally, after all that, we get into the generic free agent moves that I thought were huge Monday to
Can we talk
Wednesday.
about Aaron Rodgers real quick?
Oh, fudge, we didn't talk about the Packers. There's
Aaron
so much
Rodgers
to
wants
talk about today. All right, so Packers left with absolutely nothing at receiving core. They, in their one playoff game this year, only threw the ball to Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. Now they have to figure out how to fill in for Devontae Adams. Ken, you can talk about the situation or who you think is going to go there. We'll take anything.
Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, guys. Like, why on earth? Like, there's no way he okayed that trade. There's they probably didn't even talk to him. But same way that the Browns didn't talk to Baker.
Pause. Aaron Rodgers to the Browns for Baker Mayfield. Super Bowl.
Let's do it. But, are you kidding me? They just started turning a quarter with Aaron Rodgers. They started letting, giving him his money and stuff. And, they were mending this relationship. And then they're like, by the way, we're going to take away the only thing you really want. Like, I'm sorry. MVS is a good, I can't even say good
He's
player.
A deep threat. He just runs fast.
Good. He's good.
Yeah. And then Alan Lazard is also a receiver. His tight end's coming off of an ACL tear. Give him something besides two running backs. But I say two because Aaron Jones is talented. I know the PFF on what's his name is great, but I'm just not buying it yet.
Maybe the Packers shop Julio because his value is kind of down after last season. Maybe you shop Julio, try to pick up somebody. I mean, Allen Robinson's already off the table.
They better make a move for a receiver.
They need something.
I can't believe we've overlooked this. There's so much big news. Tom Brady's returning.
Okay.
So I bring that up because Julio Jones is going to Tampa Bay. Back to the Packers.
Dude, they got Russell Graves, they got Chris Godwin, they got Mike Evans.
I said back to the Packers.
So I'm sorry, sir.
I run the show.
If they don't make a move for a stud receiver, what are you giving Aaron Rodgers here, guys? Come on.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't really get the move at all. Unless they know of two studs they can get through the draft. But aren't those 2023 picks?
No, one's a 2022, but they're both 2022, I think. But I think it's a first and a second rounder. The real reason they didn't sign him is because he's getting, what was it, close to $30 million a year or over $30 million? I can't remember.
Worth the money. He is well worth the money.
They probably just didn't have the money. But
they gave it all to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but either way, I'm sorry. You cut who you have to. You call up the Saints GM and figure out what he did to finagle money. But you need to keep Aaron Rodgers' number one weapon out there.
No. Aaron Rodgers' weapon. There's nothing else. There's a scrap heap over on the left side. He only has one weapon.
Aaron Jones is good. I really like Aaron Jones, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So here's some free agent wide receivers that could be going to the Packers. My favorite, it's a personal bias, so give me a break. Will Fuller, Juju Smith-Schuster. You put those guys on the Packers, I'm super happy. Raise the Packers fan, and then you get two of my favorite players on the team. It'd be fantastic.
But Will Fuller is going to hurt his pinky and be out for 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, but those first three will be great. Anyways, other receivers, just a quick rundown. Jarvis Landry, T.Y. Hilton, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, A.J. Green, and then it's Sammy Watkins, Keelan Cole, Deshaun Jackson, just ugly.
I mean, I like Emmanuel Sanders. I think he every time he's put in a position, I think he produces. He's quiet with it.
Are you the guy that would go out and give me T.Y. Hilton, Emmanuel Sanders, and A.J. Green? We might not run a good 40, but we'll win.
Oh God, that's horrible. That sounds so.
That sounds so old. Yeah, that would have been great 5-10 years ago. But yeah,
their tapioca pudding cost just went through the roof.
Guys, they're screwed, man. Christian Kirk got what was it, $1 billion from Jacksonville?
I really wanted Christian Kirk in a Browns uniform, and then I saw what he got paid, and I'm like, you know what? Never mind. Glad he went where he went. I'm like, I don't know how they paid him that much.
That is a big piece. Oh, because they don't have any good players, so you just got a stock heap of cash. And
But
you're just like,
I
what do we
mean,
do?
Christian Kirk, who was the number 3, who ended up being like the number 4 in Arizona, who had a decent season. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand how you can pay him that much.
So let's cover this real quick. Nate Schmidt actually brought this up in his comment to us this week, and he was just essentially like, Christian Kirk, if you judge, if poop walks and money talks, Christian Kirk is an elite receiver in the NFL. 4 years, $84 million is what he was put. I think it's 72, not guaranteed. So the Jacksonville Jaguars went through, and they just lit the market on fire for everyone else because they also paid Zay Jones $30 million over 3 years. So I don't know, and it actually cost the Packers Devontae Adams because there was reports that NFL teams were arguing with their players. It's like, okay, do we judge you guys on what the market has done historically, or do we judge you based on what the Jacksonville Jaguars are paying people? Agents obviously say we deserve what the Jags pay players, and NFL GMs are like, we can't afford that. It's impossible.
Yeah. Ty is about to make $18 million a year, man.
Well, then Allen Robinson. Let's just keep going through one by one, bringing all these up. Allen Robinson goes to the Rams, makes $15 million a year.
God, I love that move, man.
The Rams are stacking that offense. I mean, that is
we
filthy.
always talk about elite here and what is elite. And I know Ken and I have had this shared thought on Allen Robinson, and it's just that if he had a real quarterback, that is the only difference between him and elite. And I'm not talking like a good quarterback, a top tier. I'm talking like a quarterback that plays quarterback in the NFL is all he needs. And he hasn't had that. And now he has Matt Stafford, and he gets single coverage on the outside. I know Cooper Kupp just went for 1,900 yards and like 20-ish touchdowns. Dude, I'm thinking if Allen Robinson, if they really do play him one-on-one the whole time, it's got to be 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns easy.
Easy, yeah.
The only issue is I just don't know. There's only one ball to go around, and Sean McVay doesn't like to run up scores. Like, I mean, Cooper Kupp's going to get his. And I love Robert Woods. I am a Robert Woods truther. Before this year, I would have made the argument that Robert Woods is a better receiver than Cooper Kupp, which is ridiculous now.
That cost me so many fantasy leagues because this is the first year I ever said Robert Woods will outplay Cooper Kupp. Every year I drafted Cooper Kupp. This year I said Woods all the way. I ate my crow.
I did the same thing, yes. But anyways, Allen Robinson he's a different receiver than Robert Woods, but value to a team, I think Allen Robinson's actually more valuable, which is not something that I said about Odell. I always said before, for the one day before Robert Woods got hurt, that Odell was on the team. I thought Odell was a clear number 3. Here, I think it's 1 Kupp, 2A Robinson, 2B Woods. Now, the reason why, even though they're very, very close, and I won't say elite talent because we cherish that word here, that they're not on the level of Cooper Kupp. So I cannot put them as a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C. It's okay. It's simple math. Don't worry.
It's like we try to dodge T. Higgins all week because Connor's not here to yell at you. And you just work the exact same argument into Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp because Allen Robinson has the talent to be elite. He has the talent. I said he's not elite currently because his stats haven't done it. I can't wait for him.
I'm going to put that down. Okay, I'm going to remind you said that.
I think you said it. That's all we talk about.
I'm just super happy. I'm super happy that Jarvis didn't go to LA and Allen Robinson did, because if it would have been 2 Cleveland receivers there, I would have hardcore rooted against the Rams.
Right, guys, one clear thing. Allen Robinson is better than Jarvis.
100%.
Especially at this point in his career.
They're 2 completely different receivers. And my phone's on like 5%, just so you know, so if I randomly pop off of this, that's why. But, I mean, the Rams are stacked. If they get Odell back, they have two good running backs with Akers and Henderson. I don't know if they're keeping both of them yet, but I'm imagining that they would. And then you have Robinson, Kupp, Woods, and then possibly OBJ, and then Higbee at tight end. That's
Van
disgusting.
Jefferson is also there, who is
Van Jefferson.
he's notable, but he's not notable on their team.
I
It's
love
amazing.
They're
Van
getting,
Jefferson.
and they're going to re-sign OBJ. Van Jefferson's going to the Packers. It's booked.
They don't need a deep threat. They need a real receiver. And
No, they're just gonna run go routes the whole time, and Rodgers is just gonna throw Hail Marys.
the horrible part is, despite the fact that we're saying all this crap, they're still clearly going to win that division. They're still clearly going to be in the playoffs and a contender because they have Aaron Rodgers.
Well, and because there are no other teams in that division at all that can win. I
You
mean,
guys are wrong. For the first time I'm ever going to say it, Kirk Cousins and those Minnesota Vikings, they have a more talented team, minus quarterback. We're excluding quarterback. That doesn't count right here. They don't even have a more talented team, but they have better receivers.
did they re-sign Thielen?
I'm pretty sure they have Thielen. I
Okay.
like the Vikings to come out and just upset that division if the Packers don't make many moves. Obviously, the Packers, they have so many great players regardless of losing Adams. But I think the Vikings are underrated because last year we talked about the Vikings coach to win the game, to have a touchdown determine the game. Within 7 points, either way, they don't care. Mike Zimmer was the most conservative coach, and they went out and they got Sean McVay's protege. Offensive coordinator. Now, he is also a guy who likes to run the clock out when they're winning. However, he won't be as conservative as Mike Zimmer, and I'm very excited for that.
You're just saying they got a better coach. That's all you're saying.
Yeah,
No. Not just a better coach. Mike Zimmer, I think, is a fantastic coach, but they have a better game planner and game like a game strategist, essentially. I know, obviously, coaching on Sunday is what matters most to coaches, but it is really bad how bad Mike Zimmer was. And the fact that they're going to have at least a guy who knows how to handle situations better is going to be a game changer. They're going to get Justin Jefferson involved earlier and longer throughout the game. It's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited. All right, let's move on to other free agent moves. I guess we can say Tom Brady now. It's been put off long enough. Returning to Tampa Bay. All speculation is right now, if Rob Gronkowski doesn't return to Tampa Bay, Tom Brady isn't staying, which I highly disagree with. I said speculation. That's right. That's from Skip Bayless. No one else has speculated that.
I don't know Tom Brady's like trade clause or contract or anything, but why on earth, if you think you're a contender, you don't trade Tom Brady to anyone. You just let him retire. You let him sit out because there's no value because Tampa Bay, they went all in. Like, you talk about like a clock running out. It's gonna be over. And guess what? If Tom Brady's in the league, like, he can beat you. I'm sorry. You're not trading him to anyone. I love how what Bruce Arians said. He goes, what's a trade value on Tom Brady? 5 first-round picks. I love it.
All right, now real quick. So excluding them trading him, where do you put the Buccaneers this year, given the Devontae Adams moves? Because I think that puts them number 2 to the Rams currently in the NFC.
Without a doubt.
Yep. I honestly I would have put them ahead of the Rams until the Allen Robinson move, but now you truly have one unguardable wide receiver, one that can monster single coverage, and Robert Woods humiliating whatever you put on him. Because it's just leftovers.
I can't argue that.
Can still throw a few pick sixes. So they'll be like 12-5 or 13-4. But playoff-wise, I'm sorry. Also, Cam Akers is coming back from an Achilles injury, like actually coming back.
He was
this
back
time.
last year, Ken.
Yeah. Okay, he came back 6 months after an Achilles tear. Good.
He was.
I think that they go back to the one back. I think they just, use Cam Akers. I think Cam Akers is going to come out looking way better than he did this year. Guys, it's Achilles injury. Let's not pretend like we don't know about those. Like it takes a while to come back. You literally have to walk differently afterwards to compensate.
Sorry. All right, let's go on to some other big free agency moves then. So we have J.C. Jackson going to the Chargers. Again, AFC West. J.C. Jackson, maybe, top 3 corner in the league. If you're not talking Jalen Ramsey, he might actually be the second best in the NFL. So this is another move by the Chargers. We talked about Khalil Mack last week. Now they have 2 elite edge rushers. Derwin James, who was a do-it-all. Like, he could rush the passer, he can cover, he can play linebacker, and now you have an elite corner. Does this... I know we talked and said where the Raiders were previously. How do you feel about the Chargers currently?
Let me just jump in here. So I love all the moves they've made, and Justin Herbert is the second best quarterback in that division. But I still don't think they'll find a way to either miss the playoffs or get bounced out in the first round, because I do not think Staley is a good coach. I think that gambling on 4th down every drive is too risky, and he just makes these terrible decisions late game that cost them games last season. I'm sick of watching it. He has to prove himself this season, or I think you give him the end of this season or next season, and then you get rid of Staley.
All right, so the Browns go for it a lot on 4th down. Anthony, I know your phone's going to die. I'm trying to get this out quick. So, are you against going for it on 4th down, or are you going against for it on 4th down because you see it doesn't work sometimes?
I'm just going against, like, you have a field goal, and it's 4th and 6. You're on the 30. Just kick the field goal. That's what costed the Chargers games last year. And also, like, when they beat the Browns, they went for it on 4th down probably like 8 times that game. Like, and it worked. It works 50-50. I know it's a numbers game, but I'm all for kicking the field goal, getting the points. Late in the game, if you're down points, go for it on 4th down. That makes complete sense. But in the regular season, you have to win games, and getting points is the biggest, most crucial thing. And I just think it's not even the going for it on 4th down. I just don't think Staley is a good play caller. I think he's a terrible play caller. I like the offense, but it just seems like late in games, he just can't do it.
All right, Ken?
Sorry, guys.
No problem. I would say my only complaint against the Chargers last year was that their defense absolutely sucked. And their
defense sucked.
And they got 2 elite players to fix it, Ken.
I 100% agree.
Even though Joey Bosa is clearly better than Khalil Mack's still elite.
They're both in the same tier of elite. That's for sure. Yeah.
I'll be back. I just got to go kill someone.
Which one do you think's better? Because I believe you guys made the argument Khalil Mack was better last time. Now you're saying Joey Bosa's better?
Well, it depends what you're judging on.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is there an argument to be made that one is better than the other? For both of them?
No.
The answer is yes.
No, judging based on last year, it's Joey Bosa hands down. Historically, it's Khalil Mack.
You just made the argument.
No. It just depends on what your preference is.
I'm saying they're both elite. Yes.
All right. Anyways, so outside of just that, any additional thoughts? I honestly don't even know if you spoke on this yet. I guess not. All right. Let's go on to our next big contract. Von Miller to the Bills. $120 million over 6 years. Anthony, I'm going to keep going to you first until your phone dies.
Okay. Von Miller, I like the signing for the Bills. The Bills could always bolster their defense. They have a good defense. Their pass rush was the one thing that I was a little bit worried about. They have a really good secondary. 6 years, though, is Von Miller going to play past 3 seasons? I don't know how you signed him for 6 years. I don't know how you justify that. Love the move. Buffalo they were a touchdown away from going.
They were 13 seconds. Give them more credit.
it was so close. I think if you're Cleveland and Buffalo, you're always going to get there and get right there and then lose to the Chiefs. It's going to happen every time in the postseason. Now you've got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos to deal with. I don't know. I love it for Buffalo. I don't see any holes in their game besides their run game. But didn't they just sign a running back?
They got J.D. McKissick as a pass catching back.
No, they didn't. J.D. McKissick went back on it, and he's with Washington still.
This is nuts.
Really?
That's like the fourth or fifth person. That's like a noticeable signing to be like touching black trade backs.
Ridiculous.
The biggest problem I always have had with Buffalo with the Josh Allen offense is the run game. The run game is Josh Allen. The whole game on offense is Josh Allen. Great, you just got Von Miller, great signing, but they need to figure something out with the run game because if they sustain more drives, they'd be a little bit scarier. I mean, they do sustain drives, but when they get stagnant, it's bad. They look like a really bad team when that pass game just isn't working. And they figured it out last season at the end of the season and then going to the postseason. But, I mean, I think against the Chiefs, the best thing you can do is run the ball and try to build an early lead and kill that clock. Make sure Mahomes doesn't get the ball. They didn't do anything to sustain that other than get a pass rusher for 6 years. I don't know how he's going to play for 6 years.
That's how much money Von Miller will make off this contract this year. He has $45 million in guaranteed money coming today.
Well, at least it's front heavy because he's going to suck for the last 3 years of this.
He is making half of this contract today, this year, $60 million to play football.
I love it for Von Miller and for every other team in the AFC.
Why?
He's going to get Vince Wilfork big.
Why do you love it for every other team in the AFC?
Because it's probably screw over the Bills for a while.
So, I do love that they did take the smart approach and say Josh Allen's massive contract kicks in next year. So let's just load a bunch of money out onto Von Miller this year and deal with the repercussions later. It's kind of like they're giving him the QB money this year instead of next for Allen.
That's true, but yeah, I'll tell you what, Von Miller, he did so well this year. He literally helped the team win a Super Bowl. He earned every dime of it, and then he earned a lot of dimes after that.
and then after that, this year, he still has $60 million coming when, he's old and getting, lazy. Anyways, let's go on to the next big note I have from free agency. The Bengals have made 2 signings on their offensive line already, and might be bringing in a 3rd or 4th player also. So they are fixing the offensive line, which is the obvious hole in their game. If you watch the Super Bowl, both guard spots, dude, you saw Aaron Donald, he was in the backfield whenever he wanted to be. Mm-hmm. As Browns fans, happy, obviously you're not happy they're getting better, but are you getting to the point where you feel like this is the Ravens and the Bengals for years to come?
Irrelevant. Their line sucks so bad, 2 people aren't going to make a difference. It was that bad. But really, no. I hate the fact that we're going to have to play Joe Burrow. I've made the comparisons to him being the future Ben Roethlisberger for the Browns, which, in case you're wondering, that means it's 2 free wins for a long time.
He will eventually be the record holder of most wins at First Energy Stadium. That's Cleveland.
But no, really, depends how long Lamar can kick in. But Lamar beats us. Joe Burrow beats us, and nope. Honestly, I'm not really pumped about playing Mitch Trubisky either. Just because the Steelers, even in our best years, find a way to go 1-1 with us. So I'm sorry. Not a good time, and this is why I'm blaming this on why Deshaun Watson isn't coming here.
All right, so Anthony, different question for you. Where do you think the Bengals end up this year? They were the AFC champions last year. Obviously, they had the chance for a lot of regression, given that they went from a worst place schedule, now they have a first place schedule, but they are being aggressive and trying to fix their problems.
I think obviously addressing offensive line was huge for them. You watched that Titans game in the playoffs. Burrow got sacked, 10 times? Like double digits? I don't know how they found a way to win that game. It's mainly because they have the nastiest skill group right now in the AFC North. You
Look
have
at Ken
Mixon.
nodding along. 20
When
minutes
Tyler-
ago, he was saying some other team. I can't even remember who we were talking about was number one. Get out.
the
I said
Rams-
top 5, and I said 49ers. That's in the NFC.
You started
Calm
number
down.
one, and I got worked up. Then you said top 5, and I backed off. That's fine.
When Tyler Boyd is your number 3 receiver, I'm huge on Tyler Boyd. I think he's a phenomenal player.
He's a 1,000-yard receiver in his prime.
Yeah, and they're all young. Like I think he's the oldest one there, and he's a stud. Now they're bolstering their offensive line. I think they're scary. They'll probably go out and draft some more offensive linemen, and their defense is getting better. All they need to address on defense is getting rid of Eli Apple, and they're fine.
They don't even need a replacement. Put Air Bud out there.
I am absolutely scared as a Browns fan. It sucks. And getting rid of Baker, a.k.a. Cincinnati's kryptonite, that's going to suck for us. Because now we're going to lose to the Bengals twice a year. I just went down to Cincinnati to visit Phil for a little bit over the last weekend. Becoming a Bengals fan, man. I'm going to move down there. The city's so much nicer. Sorry, Cleveland. I love you. But, I'm going to move down there, become a Bengals fan. They got the same colors.
You still got to wear orange. All right. So my take on this is, dude, the Bengals are actually now putting themselves in that elite group conversation for best teams in the AFC. They are still clearly behind the Chiefs, behind the Chargers, and behind the Bengals.
I was going to say, hypothetically, guys, where do you put them in the AFC West? If Cincinnati was shipped out to like Washington or California,
I put them.
I'd say neck and neck with the Chargers, but they're competing for the 3rd or 4th spot.
Yeah, I would say neck and neck with the Broncos, and that's nothing against them, but damn, that division's good.
Okay, so I guess I think the Broncos defense is underrated. So they also have a diverse set of skill players. They don't have any elite ones, but they have a lot of good players. Let's go on to the last move that affects us as Browns fans. Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers. So when I first saw this, I thought, that's awesome. Then I realized Big Ben might have been the 29th best starting quarterback last year because it was so bad, everything he did. Now the Steelers get a mobile quarterback who can escape pressure when their offensive line continues to suck, which they have great receivers already. This actually could give them some hope and a little bit more upside than they had last year. And even last year, they were a 500 team that made the playoffs. So if AFC West is the best division in football, I might say AFC North is second best, followed by NFC West. I think that's my ordering. But that's separate. Ken? Or Anthony, you go first. Ha!
Yeah, Trubisky's a huge signing. I said the same thing. I'm like, oh, it's great for the Browns. But I'm like, now I look at it, I'm like, yeah, Big Ben, when they went into the playoffs last year to play the Chiefs in the first round, everyone knew that the Steelers were going to lose. Now they have Trubisky. It's like, we got a chance. We have a better chance than we did with Mason Rudolph, who I don't know how he still is even in the NFL, but I never hated Trubisky. I've always kind of liked the player he was. He's not great. He's kind of like that Baker, not in terms of like similar play styles, but he gives you a chance to win the game. They have Najee Harris. They're going to be running the ball a ton. You saw it last year. They're going to be throwing it to him out of the backfield. They have good receivers. They have a good tight end too. Forget his name.
For your move.
I mean, they just need a little bit better of an offensive line, and their defense is top 5, top 10 defense in the NFL. That's what won them games last year. To me, control the clock with Trubisky. Occasionally you need a throw out of him. He's a perfect fit for that offense.
Perfect fit that they will replace in a year, is what Anthony is saying. Yeah. I want to make sure that everyone knows that Mitch Trubisky is not the quarterback for the Steelers for years to come.
No, but I agree. I mean, he's a good bridge quarterback. He could get the ball to Allen Robinson in Chicago. Like, he physically got it there. He threw tons of picks doing it. Sometimes you try to run it to him out there. But the Bears, I mean, he made a Pro Bowl one year, and then he led the Bears to playoff a few times. I mean, yes, on the back of a very good defense. But at the same time, the Steelers, let's be real, they have a good team. They have a lot of pieces around him. He can get the ball out to receivers. He can lose games for you. He can definitely lose games for you. He can certainly lose games for you.
I think what Ken's trying to say is Trubisky can lose a game or two here and there.
But no, honestly, I'm probably a little higher up on Trubisky than the average person. Not much higher. He's not average. He's not close to average, but I'm higher than most.
Trubisky's that guy that you're like, hey, if he's my backup and he has to win a game while my starter's out, I'm okay with it. I think that's fine for like a plug and play for a year. Especially when if it was the Browns, I'd be miserable about it, but since it's the Steelers, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, they're not the Browns. They have a quarterback to play next season.
Like when you talk about weapons, I mean Deontay Johnson, Claypool, Freiermuth, and Najee.
Yep.
But like between them and a good defense, they don't have a line. They'll get some pieces. Like you don't need a ton at quarterback. I mean, they snuck into the playoffs last year with Big Ben playing horribly. So they can. There's nothing saying that they can't do that again.
How good is Najee Harris if a fantasy owner drops him in the middle of the season? How good is he?
Hypothetical scenario.
Question is, how good is that fantasy owner if he drops him in the middle of the season?
I have to get Andrew to watch this, or at least I'll clip that.
Yeah, it's his birthday in 2 days. Why not?
That'll be a perfect clip.
I had to rag out him.
All right, so that's all the notes I had for free agency moves. Anything else big that you guys want to talk about? The Ravens I was going to talk about till Zadarius Smith backed out of that deal.
Yeah. They haven't done anything, really, have they?
They have Marcus Williams coming in at safety, which is a move I like, but they're not fixing their pass rush, which I don't like.
Well, they need to fix...
They got 25 people off of IR back, man.
Yeah. Dobbins. I forgot about Dobbins. I forgot he was still on that team.
Marcus Peters will be a big addition, too, to have across from whoever their corner is.
Have they addressed?
Huh?
Have they addressed that receiving core at all?
They have 2 first-round picks at receiver, Hollywood Brown and Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman is an underrated guy. I'm a big fan.
He'll get better, but I mean, still, I think like going out and getting a Julio or some like a veteran receiver, or I don't know if
they had Sammy Watkins last year.
a true veteran, a veteran that was successful in the NFL.
I'm gonna be honest, bringing up Julio. Any team that signs him, if he's a contender, I'm going to be excited. I love Julio. He's right up there with Jimmy G with guys I love too much.
So you were excited about him in Tennessee last season, and then instant disappointment.
I was so excited. I thought that team was going to be awesome, and he had 400 yards and 1 touchdown. I'm done on Julio unless he goes to the Buccaneers, is their third option, and is just like, hey, I'm going to be here. I'll show up for 8 games. I'll put up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in all of them.
Is Antonio Brown floating out there anywhere?
I hope he makes it to the AFL or whatever the new one is.
Is he still in the Jets end zone dancing?
I love the photoshopped signs they put up.
Yeah, real quick. If Aaron Rodgers has anything to say, the Packers will be trading back for Devontae Adams sometime next week.
Three first rounders going to Vegas for Devontae Adams.
Now, here's the biggest thing with that trade, and I dislike Aaron Rodgers. This is the problem with signing these huge deals and saying you want to win. I've never thought of Aaron Rodgers as a guy that wants to win Super Bowls. I think he's a greedy player, and yeah, I get it. You're the most talented. Well, next to Mahomes now and Herbert, you're one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. I get it. You get your money, but you get endorsements, you get all this. Do you want to win or do you just want money? Like, what is it? I don't get that guy at all.
Yeah. So, any last takes? Minus Anthony, that was a good one. I probably should have just ended right there, but I don't know if you guys had any moves that I missed. Kind of. I only talked about AFC North moves outside of the highlights.
Well, we talk about AFC West, and you better get used to it. We'll be talking about them all year.
Anthony?
No, I'm good. I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, Anthony, thank you for joining us, and thank you for editing this, because you're going to have to edit out that part where my sound kicked on in the middle and started playing some music. Thank you all for listening. Again, like, subscribe, comment. As always, Nate Schmidt, thank you for commenting and being the leader of our fan base.
Our fan base in general. Thank you.